Hey guys, welcome to the Vault. Leon and Pierre here. We are back with some more exclusive content today. We're going to be focusing on Pierre's favorite team, the Boston Red Sox. He's got a chance to collaborate with a huge store, so he's going to tell us a little bit about it. So, Pierre.
Leon, thank you, man. Listen, you know me; I'm a lifelong Red Sox fan. Okay, I've been a Red Sox fan for as long as I can remember. I've been through an awful lot with them. Ups and downs. I think back to 1986. That was I was 9 years old, right? I remember being around a lot of family members when the ball went through Bill Buckner's legs. This was probably the first moment I knew I was doomed to love this team. And that's about it, right? And then the rest is history. But as I grew up, I was big into baseball cards. I love Wade Boggs, Roger Clemens, all of these Red Sox players that ended up being Hall of Famers. Hearing the stories of Ted Williams and all this stuff, it was something that was so ingrained in me. I just fell in love with the franchise. And even in the late 90s, the Yankees were dominating. They were killing everybody. And I was still, listen, man, I stuck with my team. And I grew up in Central Connecticut. So Central Connecticut's equidistant from Fenway and Yankee Stadium. So it was like, this kind of like almost like battleground of Red Sox and Yankee fans. So I grew up, having to defend myself and my love of the Red Sox. And never once did I waver because they were my team, man. You know how that is. And I think it was an awful lot of pain, but then came 2003. So 2003 was a year I was like, holy shit, man. They got a guy by the name of David Ortiz, right? And the Minnesota Twins had given up on David Ortiz. They thought he was just going to be some contact hitter or some shit like that.
Just a slap ball hitter.
Yeah, slap ball hitter or whatever the fuck. He ended up becoming a behemoth in that lineup and one of the best clutch players the game has ever seen. And you had Manny Ramirez, right? Arguably one of the best right-handed hitters ever played the game. You had Pedro Martinez, who I think his peak was better than any other pitcher in the history of the game at his peak. I don't think there's a way to question it. People say Sandy Koufax. Nah, I'm telling you, I'm sticking with Pedro. In the era, battling steroid freaks, he was it. This was the year, right? 2003, they're progressing through the year. They won the wild card, I believe, but they were just killing everybody on the way there. Then they get to the ALCS and they play the Yankees. Game 7, win, move on, lose, go the fuck home. And lose they did. Grady Little kept Pedro Martinez in a game when he had no business to because Pedro said he didn't want to come out. And then the Yankees end up tying it up. A game that was handily in the Red Sox favor. It felt like it was going to end. It felt like the Red Sox were going to do it. And then the 10th inning comes. I don't know what the fuck happened with the cable company, but the commercial break came back late. And all I saw was the end of a Tim Wakefield knuckleball connecting with the bat of Aaron Boone and going over that left field fence. It was the worst moment of my sport loving life. It was fucking terrible. Yeah. I didn't even have the pleasure of seeing it leave Wakefield's hand. And the next morning it had to be one of the worst mornings after a sporting event you could possibly fucking imagine. I called out to work. I didn't want to be bothered. I want to be left the fuck alone. Then the Florida Marlins end up beating the Yankees, which did very little to dull the pain, but it was still better than the Yankees winning, right?
Yeah.
So now you're moving towards 2004, okay? As a Red Sox fan, you're used to this feeling. Put the loss behind you and move forward. The Red Sox said, all right, we need another starter. They go out and get Curt Schilling. So now they have 2 number ones, right? And I'd argue that Curt Schilling that year was better than Pedro. But Curt Schilling's a proven Yankee killer. He was on that team in 2001 with the Diamondbacks that took down the Yankees. So I'm like, fuck, this is it, man. Okay? And all year, they're killing people, man. 6, 7 runs, 12 runs, 15 runs, 6 runs, 5 runs. They were just killing people.
They're angry.
They were fucking pissed. And they had the craziest middle of the order you could ask for in David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez. It was sick. Their number 4, 5, and 6 hitters were still hitting 20, 25 home runs. This team was loaded. So we're getting towards playoff time. And as a Red Sox fan, you're optimistic, but you also know you're probably going to get fucked. Right? So they get to the ALCS again. Who do you think their opponent is, Leon?
ALCS? Yankees.
Yeah, the Yankees again. Okay. All right. So I'm pumped. I'm ready to watch this series, right? And before you know it, they're down 3 games. They're down 3 games.
Yeah.
And
That many teams come back from that.
Nobody's ever come
At the
back
time,
from that.
nobody
In Major
has,
League
right?
Baseball.
Yeah.
No one's ever come back from that. It's fucking over. And, you know, and the worst part was that game 3, I think the Yankees put up 20 something runs on the Red Sox. So not only were they down 3-0, I mean, you took their manhood.
Yeah.
I don't know what possessed me to watch the next day, but I tuned in.
Glutton for punishment.
I tuned into the game.
Yeah.
And, you know, that game ended up being one of the most prolific moments of my sport loving life. When you saw Dave Roberts steal that base and eventually David Ortiz win that game in walk-off fashion on a pitch he shouldn't have hit. If you go back and look at that highlight, it was so far in on his hands. I don't know how he got that thing into the fucking outfield. Okay, but the guy was a clutch machine. He wasn't going to be stopped.
Just got it done.
Next game, same thing. I thought it was fucking over. The Red Sox get into extra innings. You know what they do? David Ortiz again wins the game. All the while, we have an injured number 1 starter in Curt Schilling. Fast forward to game 6 now. Red Sox are thinking this is possible. Curt Schilling with a ruptured Achilles and Dr. James Andrews threw a stitch in there or something. And this fucker went on the mound.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have anything but like an 82-mile-an-hour fastball, maybe. But guts, and that's all he needed, put that game away. Incredible. The stuff of legend, man. Kirk Gibson type legend shit, right? Then you go to game 7, and what do you got? You got all no holds barred, right? Johnny Damon hits a grand slam. That game, the Red Sox fucking dominate, man. They're like, fuck you, we're moving on. The Red Sox beat the Yankees after being down 0-3. Insane. Never happened. And I don't know if it'll ever happen in baseball again. It might. But for some reason, the sport of baseball doesn't allow for that to happen.
Yeah. There's been some 3-1s, but not 3-0s.
Never 3-0. So how, you know, I mean, and how long is baseball history? I mean, it's fucking
100. Yeah, 100 plus.
Yeah. So now, you know, they go on and they just absolutely destroy the St. Louis Cardinals. I mean, they destroyed them. The St. Louis Cardinals had no shot. It was like it was over. It was over before it began. But that in general was my favorite year to watch baseball, and probably had me at the edge of the precipice of some dangerous shit, because I was watching them down 0-3. I thought they were fucking. I was going to be done with baseball at that point. But I got the opportunity to collaborate with Sportsworld, and Sportsworld, you know, is one of my favorite hat shops, right? In Jamaica, Queens. I love Ash. I love his team out there. And he asked me to collaborate on some hats and to come up with some ideas. So these are the 2 ideas I came up with, and I want you to hear me out before I show the hat. So the first thing is, growing up, I didn't see it, you know, but after a while, I started to realize that the Red Sox were the least diverse team in Major League Baseball. They had a racist ownership group. They were terrible in terms of diversity. You had some black players like Jim Rice, who's in the Hall of Fame, Ellis Burke, you had Louis Tiant. You had some players of color, but overall it was a white bread team. And really when you look back on it, it's pretty sad. But the infusion of Dominican talent, I think, was the primary reason the Red Sox franchise turned around. David Ortiz, you know, Manny Ramirez, Pedro Martinez, those players turned around this franchise. Pedro Martinez more so than anybody else, because when he came over from the Expos, he was a fucking dynamo.
Yeah.
Dude was throwing the steroid freaks, and he had sub-2 ERAs and striking out 300 people a season, and he weighed like 140 pounds, right? Mm-hmm. So I wanted to create a hat that commemorated those Dominican players. This is the cap that I think best commemorates those Dominican players.
Beautiful.
The second thing I wanted to do was commemorate Curt Schilling and the bloody sock. So, you know, I think this is one of the most iconic moments in Red Sox history. So we found a way to kind of, you see it there?
Yeah.
So we used the red on the socks to commemorate the bloody socks, gold outline on the socks, and that World Series patch, and that red undervisor. The bloody sock. So, listen, I'm really, really happy that Ash and the team over there allowed me to do these, because these things to me mean so much to me, and how much I love the Red Sox, how much I love Sportsworld, and I just love the opportunity to do these. And that's kind of the story. I'm excited to see how much people like these. They're going to come out on Friday, 7 p.m. on the Sportsworld website, and I think we're gonna see just how much other people like the Red Sox
or hate the Yankees.
Man, it's funny because it's in a New York City store, right? So
yeah, but anything Dominican themed should do well. It should fly.
Yeah.
You might hate the Yankees. I mean, you might hate the Red Sox, but you can't deny how good those players were.
No, they were incredible, man.
Yeah,
incredible. Yeah.
Well, I hated watching them play the Blue Jays. Multiple times a year. I'd get anxiety every time David Ortiz came up.
Ortiz was sick, man. He's fucking sick.
Yeah.
Sick. Well, Leon, I appreciate you coming on with me. I know you're a huge baseball fan as well. Even though you're not a Red Sox fan, you certainly you did me a favor by wearing a Red Sox hat today. So
no problem. Yeah. I did like cheering for you guys because you guys were the underdogs up until that point.
Yeah. Then the Red Sox became a pretty dominant franchise when you think about it. Yeah. All right, Leon, big fella, you ready to take us away?
Yeah, make sure you guys like, rate, review, subscribe. Let us know in the comments your favorite Boston Red Sox moments. Until next time, stay fitted. We'll be back soon. We out.
See you, everybody.
Peace.